Lee Nichols?
Yeah.
David Rule?
Yeah.
Jeanette Stewart here. Eli Badger?
Here.
Sandra Coleman?
Here.
Carol Lamus?
Present.
And Sherry Downing?
Here.
Okay, would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Where we at?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And while I think of it, I scheduled the fire station for the second Tuesday in December, which is December 11th. If I'm right, it should be December 11th.
A Tuesday?
Yes.
Jared.
Date is
December 11th.
Okay, at 6 p.m. Okay, everybody should have the books that Charlie made us, which he did an excellent job.
Thanks.
I'm sure it took you a lot of time to do that, Charlie. Charlie also just handed us, did you get Sherry one,
Yes.
Charlie? A new actual and budgeted expense and encumbrances.
Yeah, those are as of Friday. The accountant ran the payables on Friday. And like I said earlier, the previous one that I submitted didn't have payroll into it because that's a file that we upload. It just wasn't uploaded.
But you redid the whole thing again, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's go over the actual and budgeted expenses and encumbrances. That's probably the most important thing right now to go over. Sherry?
Are we going over the one we just received or the one that we received before?
They're the same. He just did not have everything in there.
You didn't have the payroll in there.
Right.
I would say the one that you just received.
Yeah, I would too, because
the
that's
most
got all
up-to-date.
the,
I haven't looked at that, so.
that's got everything
It's
in
the
there.
same thing except for payroll.
When are we going to do the budget? Let me propose.
We will. I just want to see if anybody, does anybody have any concerns or questions about the one for November 13th? If not, we can go on to the proposed expenditure budget or plan.
Yeah, if we have questions.
Yeah, well, yeah, we can do it now. Assuming,
Jeanette, I think you should look at page 8
which one?
of the new actual and budget expenses encumbrances.
Yeah,
Third line down, ending in 6112.
hold on just 1 second, please.
Under highway?
And yes, you'll see that the Department of Public Works has purchased their salt since last time we spoke.
And you had mentioned that to us at the last meeting.
Yeah, and you'll see that it's overspent a little bit now, but I wanted to point that out, because that was one question that you had last time around when they were going to be doing that. Now, Charlie, do you think that will tide them over to the end of the year, or do you think they'll purchase
After
some more?
today.
Yeah, I
Hopefully.
know.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully.
There's a baby storm.
Yeah, it's slush storm.
Thank you, Harold. Does anybody else?
I
Have any other questions or concerns?
I'd say Ann did pretty good with the electricity. She only came in $8.09 over budget, including the new charges.
Yes, and...
Where is he now?
I'm sorry, on page 10, And that would be line ending in 410 under campground. Last time we discussed, we didn't know if that was gonna be a little bit shy or a little bit over. I'm just, the things that are on the top of my head, the speaking points we had last meeting, we were unsure about the electricity, the winter maintenance, and the other one was legal. Those are the only three that I can really remember that we.
Yeah, legal was really one of the main ones.
Yeah.
You know, Sherry has her hand up.
Sherry?
On the, okay, sorry. Oh, I had the thing before, I wanted to ask a question. The electric, are all the buildings being charged that $25 fee? I've asked that a couple of times, and I don't think, I went back through my notes today, and I don't believe that question's been asked. So did they get that $25 hike that all the commercial buildings got?
I don't believe
I know
so.
I get a $25 hike. So is that why we're increasing the electric on certain lines or anything? I know that was
I wouldn't think
question
that
before.
would be the case because it's a town building. You had your hand up.
No, your building's been reduced back to where it was, the same rate that a residential customer's being charged now. We've broken down the general service rate into two separate rates. One's a single-phase rate and the other's a three-phase rate. The three-phase rate people are being billed at $25, and the single-phase general service customers are being billed at the same rate as residential customers, just like they were before.
So your three-phase,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Because I did notice that my electric bill was less this past month.
Well, you'll notice that on the portion of your bill that says monthly service fee should say $10, where before it said $25.
Okay, so are the town buildings
The town
being
building-
charged?
Not all town buildings are being charged the same. The school is a three-phase building, that school's being
That's-
charged,
It's not.
The 25?
is being charged 25.
Yeah.
The town hall is a single-phase building, the buildings out at the campground are all being charged $10. I don't believe there's any other town buildings that are three-phase that are being charged $25.
No?
No,
Nope.
but we're not also being charged the industrial.
No,
Or-
there's only four
There's only
industrial
four of
customers in town that are being charged the industrial rate service fee.
Okay, now, I guess can I continue? So I guess my question was, before this new revolution that has just happened again, were they being charged that? And is it coming out of this expenditure? Because if they want to up that line because of that middle glitch
Right.
or whatever, I'd like to relook at that.
If they were under a rate 2, which was general service, they were being charged $25 to start in January. That's been changed with the new rate system down to what a residential customer pays, and that's $10.
Okay.
And that changed in October.
So that's just $15 a month difference?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
So I guess I'm asking if the budget committee can go back and look at those lines again, because I know some of them were increased because of that, I believe. I don't know.
I don't think they were
Um,
increased because of that. Charlie, do you know?
Well, there was an increase and their lines were being used, so I can kind of understand where someone would say, we need to make sure we can cover our electric in our town buildings.
Charlie, you deal with the department heads.
Yeah.
Has anything been said that it was increased because of that $25?
Well, some people did notice the rates went up.
Yeah.
At the start of the year,
But I
so-
mean, not necessarily
Yeah.
the
They've leveled
25. No.
No.
Sandra?
We're talking about two different things. We're talking about a rate increase, and we're talking about consumer charge. We're talking about a $10 fee and a $25 fee, and that is different than a rate increase. And the department heads, or the department buildings, or your individual lines are not going to be increased because of $15.
No, and I understand that, but last November when my bill doubled as my business, and I guess that right now I might be talking as a citizen, I don't know. And now I've seen where they've regulated it to now my charge is the $10 or whatever increase. I have noticed a difference, but from last November to October,
It was January of this year that the
That-
general service charges went up to $25.
that
Not
I've
double,
been
though.
paying that $25. So I've already been, as a business owner, I've doubled my electric bill and now it's kind of leveled out and back to normal in my eyes. I have no problem paying
But you mentioned it
how they
doubled.
regulated. It did double.
So if
went
it was
from-
200, it was 400. I mean, that
Correct.
has nothing to do.
Well, that doesn't really have
No,
anything
no.
to do
No,
with
that's-
service.
yeah, that has nothing to do with service
My electric bill in
charge.
my business was like $25. With the $25 increase, it went to 50, 52.
Oh, I'm glad you
It-
explained
isn't
it
it-
because it-
Yeah, it's
for the
not-
public,
no.
it would say
No,
that you're.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My electric bill at my salon was between $23 and $25. When they did the increase of the $25, my electric bill went up to 52, 53, okay? This past month, when I went back in to pay it, it was back at a regulation where I thought it should be, because he explained that it went to the $10
Monthly service.
monthly service instead of that $25 charge. So I'm just asking the budget committee to maybe stop for a second and look at those lines where they might have been being charged those $25 at that particular time.
I
Now
don't
that
think that's
they've-
gonna make a big difference, because they estimate it anyway.
No. That is your basic charge if you don't use it, 1 kilowatt hour.
Right,
It was either $10 and it went, well, it was $6.50 and it went to 25.
right. But they estimate how much electricity they're going to use.
It's got nothing
I'm
to
not
do with
talking
No, no.
about the amount that
Only,
they,
only if they can't get to read the meter, then they do. If they read the meter, every time you,
I'm talking about the department heads, we were talking about the budget. I'm talking about the department heads as to how much they're going to put in their budget so that they will have enough for the year.
Well, 12 months,
Harold?
I'm sorry, David was speaking. David, go ahead.
sorry, 12 months at $15 difference would only be $180.
Well,
Let me- I mean, it's not that
I
much
have something
anyway.
to speak to of that, okay? I think where the confusion is coming from is from when this started at the beginning of the year, there was 6 or 7 buildings that are operated and owned under the municipal town of Ashland. And each one of them was being charged the $25. Not all of them won, because there is only one town of Ashland. All 6 or 7 locations were being billed at $25. So if you take January till November, which is 11 months, $25 each, okay, you're talking $275 times 6. Okay, that's the difference. That's the not a little bit, that's a lot bit.
But
That's
each
not a
department is
difference.
different.
It's different now, but what I'm saying is, the reason why the demand, why we were looking at the numbers that are so off the scale, was that the municipality was being charged 6 or 7 times for that same fee, even though there's only one municipality. So you had your 6 or 7 different meters for your 6 or 7 different buildings. So 25 times 6, okay? So that's $150 every month that the town was shelling out more for electricity. Okay, and now it's backed off.
Why was the town, if it was, what buildings are you talking about?
Let's see, DPW, Booster Club, Town
What?
Hall.
Anything that was.
Anything that says
commercial.
But
Town
it
of
should have
Ashland.
been separate though, right?
Right, in the budget,
Yes,
it's separate.
so that's
What?
why
Right.
each one was charged the $25
Right.
fee.
Hold on, I don't understand what Harold's saying.
The adjustment from the $25 to the $10, that is why it's being thrown off so much. It's because you're not talking about one bill, whereas Sherry's saying that her bill doubled.
But what I'm not understanding is you said a total amount that was billed to the town.
Right. But what I'm saying is, you have, I think there were 6 buildings, okay? So when you're looking at your forecasted budget, if you're, from the beginning, you say, okay, each one of these is paying $25 each. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
But it wasn't billed to the town.
not
Yes,
what
it
it
was.
was.
It was.
So town buildings.
Town
Separate
buildings,
bills,
town
all right.
commercial buildings.
And their electricity costs them $25 a month right now, okay?
But shouldn't they
When
have
they
been billed
did
to
the
each separate
increase-
department?
They were built.
It went to
Yeah,
50.
they are.
Am I not?
Well, from what Harold's saying, they were billed to the town, but they shouldn't have been. They should have been billed to each separate department, correct?
I mean,
Yes.
it all gets paid from the
Yes.
same place.
Right,
yes.
but it should have been billed, from the way you're saying, it sounds
It
like it was
is.
billed to one place,
No.
which it shouldn't
No.
have been.
No, wasn't built to one.
Well,
Okay,
yeah, it is built in one
that's-
place, town hall to be paid.
Yes,
Right.
that's what I'm saying.
But no, it's in each line of the
Eli,
budget.
Eli raised his hand, so it's Eli's turn, please. Go ahead, Eli.
We're using town in two different ways. Overall, the town pays all of the bills, the individual departments
Right.
do not pay all the bills. Where you see the increases or decreases are in the individual department.
Correct.
Is that
Yep.
what we're saying?
Yep, that's what I'm saying.
Okay?
Okay, I understand it. The way it sounded like it was just all billed to the town and wasn't separated. David, did you have another question or something else?
No, I think
Sherry?
we've beaten this.
So I guess my original start of this whole thing is if the budget committee could stop and look at those lines, just so when we go to vote, we know that now that increase has decreased, and they may not need that much
But they will
more
need-
of an increase.
They will need more because the rate has gone up.
It went back to $10.
No,
No, that's not the rate.
it's not the
That's a
rate.
fee charge.
Fee charge.
The fee-
The
And
rate,
yes, I realize the rates went up,
Right.
but yes.
Per
the
kilowatt
I
rates
hour.
understand
went
that.
up, the service charge went down. So because the rates went up, they've got to have that in their budget.
And I understand that, but I think that the calculation might have been based on that $25 fee versus that $10 fee.
Which probably wouldn't have been
That's all I'm
enough.
asking to take into consideration.
But it's only going to be $150 in a whole year, right? The difference. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or 180.
maybe.
180,
Yeah.
12 months.
For each department.
For
Eli?
each department.
Why don't we ask Charlie how he made the calculation?
Well, I didn't make every one of the departments, but I just looked at all the budgets for the departments that have electricity, and they've all gone up to reflect the fee, the new charge.
New rate.
New
The
rate, not charge.
Both.
Right, yeah,
Both.
right.
Yeah.
But mainly the rate is what's going to affect
Yeah.
it. Because the charge is only $10, it's not going to change.
Right. So if you take the general government buildings, I looked at the electric bill and forecasted what we paid over the past, I think about 6 months since January, and compared to what we asked for last year, that's about where the expected electricity charge should be next year.
What percentage did the rate go up? Do you know? Sandra, do you know?
Percentage?
It wasn't a
It was
percentage.
1.5
Right.
cents per kilowatt, it was 1.5 cents per kilowatt hour
Okay.
overall.
Is that because who you have the contract with, that
I've got
went
some
up?
information to pass out
There's-
later.
Okay.
I've got some reasoning behind everything.
Okay.
There's a lot that enters into that
Yeah.
explanation.
Okay, does everybody want to go into the budget?
We're going to do the whole general budget before the budget?
The proposed
Yeah.
budget, didn't you, isn't that what you said you wanted to do?
No, one budget or the other. I mean,
Yeah, well, if nobody has any questions on that one.
On what one?
On the one that Charlie gave us, the actual and budgeted expenses and encumbrances.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of questions. Let's have a question on that.
Go ahead,
And
which
let's
line?
not jump all over the place, let's go from the beginning and ask questions. Is yours in the beginning, Sherry?
The beginning of what? What do you want?
Executive?
What do we
is that
do?
what we're starting?
The
starting with-
budget, with the executive?
Okay. Page 5. Well, I don't know where you're starting.
Page
I mean,
5.
I have a lot of questions on this, but that's fine.
Well, I just don't want to go here and then go to page 20. I just want to follow along so that everybody knows where we are.
So you have current budget expenditure questions? Sherry?
No, we can cover them over here.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I have my notes on here, so
Sounds good.
I can reference back to that if everyone wants to make sure they have it, but I'm going from the paperwork that I had before, not that I got tonight. You know what I mean? So that's what my notes are gonna reflect, unfortunately.
The only thing that should be different, what you got tonight, are the payroll figures.
Right.
For example, we paid the trustees last week, we paid the deputies last week. I happen to notice that those weren't reflected because we had to upload the payroll file to BMSI, and then I reprinted it for everyone. So
Okay.
everything else is up to date.
Cool.
All right. Now, you want me to start to talk about the executive budget?
Yes, and I have a question on that page, the executive budget, page 5.
Okay, go right ahead.
Number 2, I am assuming was the position of the person that just left?
Yes, union position, yep. Yeah.
Has that been published or anything? or-
No, not yet, not yet. We still have to discuss with the board how we're gonna move forward.
So if that's the case, how is the payroll and all that being handled?
By me. I'm doing payroll, health officer, welfare officer.
I thought,
I'm an admin
I
assistant to
thought the
myself.
chairman of the board, I thought the chairman of the board was the health officer.
What's
Not
that?
anymore.
Not anymore till the last meeting. I was deputy, taking a lot of the calls. The chairman had some, I guess you could say, schedule difficulty, and I just said, do you want me to just kind of take it on? And she was like, yeah, I might as well. So last week I sent the letter, or the application to the state.
Are you getting any more responsibilities? We're gonna have to change the title to town.
Yeah, a lot of-
Now, when you
It's not
also
too
do
bad.
that, her name is taken off from the state
Yeah.
too, is that correct?
yeah. She might stay on as deputy. Yeah.
My question on 2 is what happens to the salary proposed if you're advertising it? What are you advertising for? Or you don't know yet?
They haven't
You
yet.
know,
Yeah, we don't know.
So if it was a starting position, it would be closer to the 3,700? Or is it
37,000.
37, sorry,
Because
37,000, yeah.
The 39,000 reflects the 37,000 plus the 50-cent raise. Because it's a
And it
union.
doesn't matter how many years' experience they've had or anything?
Well, I mean, it's at the discretion of the selectmen if the position's hired as to whether or not it would be up to 39,000, I guess you could say. Yeah.
At the most.
Yeah. But
Lee?
Would this person also be helping the tax collector and town clerk?
see, I don't know quite yet because, as you know, we have the open finance officer position. Right now, we have a consultant. Last year, we had hired someone part-time. That didn't quite work out too much. Some of the thoughts that I had was hopefully maybe combine the two, but I don't know. You know, I haven't had the chance to really analyze it all, how much of a budget impact it's going to be, and then present it to the selectmen.
Was that person also still helping out the welfare director?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It was more of an office manager position.
Because, yeah, she was helping Patsy with
Yeah.
everything too.
Yeah. So
So what's the timeline on this, on the selectmen making some sort of decision?
I don't know. I don't know. It seems we're probably going to go through what we're doing right now, probably at least to the end of the year, because we're really in the budget season, preparing the warrant. I don't even, we posted tomorrow, it would still be posted for a month, and then, interviews, you're talking 2 or 3 months to possibly fill a position. So, but the way it's set up right now, I'm able to run the payroll, and our accountant comes in and runs the payables on Fridays.
And you're still have BMSI doing
Yep.
some of the financial, is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I put the payroll together and send it off to BMSI, but then there's still a little bit more that needs to be done on the
Right.
back end. We have to pay the taxes and set up direct deposit and those sorts, and I still handle HR, all the HR responsibilities, talking with the, I guess you could say the vendors, like Health Trust and Primex, and
So by the time we hold a public hearing on the budget in January, it's unlikely that this will be settled?
it could be, it could be,
But it might not be.
Yeah.
Sort of, okay.
Madam Chair, I have a general question. I don't know if this is clerical or logistical. We haven't really established this year, but when we have guests, do you think we'll have them go first, or do you think we're going to go through the whole budget? I know he has like a 7-page budget. We have 120 pages in front of us for this.
If we have like the department heads,
Well, you have one right there.
well, I didn't know he was coming, nobody told me.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying, I just looked at his budget. It's like 7 pages. So I
Well,
didn't-
last meeting, Sandra said
I
that
did.
yeah,
that I would show up.
I
yeah.
didn't hear.
It's
I'm
on the
sorry.
tape.
Yeah,
okay.
I did.
It's on the video.
Okay, I didn't hear it.
That's okay.
That's why I bring it up. I see the man sitting there very
Are
attentively.
you, is that because you want to present something as a
I'm here to
department
just
head?
answer
or-
questions from what I gave to Charlie to distribute to you for a draft of our budget. I didn't know if anybody had an opportunity to review it, and whatever questions you had, I have, hopefully have an answer.
Lee?
I do believe at last meeting, Sandra said that Steve would be here from now on to answer questions about the electric, because he knows more what's going on.
Okay.
I'm just thinking from, a punch list format, that could be one thing you could get behind you, because we're staring down the barrel of about
Yeah, we can-
120 pages of the rest of this, and this man probably has things to do.
Do
like
we
this.
have, everybody should have the electric budget.
Which one you gonna do? We're starting on the town, now you're switching.
Well,
I'm looking at 120 pages in front of
because,
me.
Make up our
only
mind what we're gonna
because,
do, that's all.
Lee, will you listen, please? The only reason is because I didn't realize he was here to give us information, so I'm not sure that he wants to stay for the whole meeting, so we'll do him, Harold had requested that, and then he can leave. The main thing you want to do probably is, do you have anything special you want to go over for the electric, or do you just want to answer questions?
I've got a few comments about what I gave you.
Okay.
Maybe I can clear up some of the questions you have by explaining what's on here.
Okay, just tell us where you are, because these
I'll
pages
start right out
are...
on the first page under income accounts. If you look at line 400, you'll see a drastic decrease from what was voted on in 2018, from $350,000 to what I put in there is $40,000.
Yep,
The $350,000 from New Hampton, it was labeled different in the old contract, in the old budget, it was labeled New Hampton Power Purchase, okay? But in the expense accounts, there is no, we can't make any money off the sale of power to New Hampton. It's an in and an out. If we put $350,000 in the budget for income, we have to show that as an expense
Yeah.
for the same amount. Under the expense line, we only had $2,100,000, and that only covers Ashland's power expense. So for some reason, the New Hampton power purchase wasn't included in the overall expense for power purchases.
okay.
So, and Lee has.
That's number 715, right?
Yes.
Lee?
No,
So you're charging them exactly what
we're on
we
the income.
pay for power,
He
is that
just,
correct?
no, he was just
Yes.
talking about this.
No.
The
They
power
agreed,
purchase.
and we're supposed to be making a penny a kilowatt hour more than what we pay for.
That's under the administration fees. That's written on the line below that. I've changed line 400 to show New Hampton administration fees.
We're
comes
on
up-
the, we're on the income page, right?
That is correct.
And then,
No, we're not there yet.
he just
I
mentioned
just
that.
referenced,
Oh, okay.
just to reference why that $350,000,
That's right,
if
and
it's
he
under
mentioned
the
that
income part,
2
it needs to be
million.
under the expense part.
Why
It's
do
in-
you call it an administrative fee?
That's what it is. We can't call it a kilowatt hour charge because we cannot, it's a matter of semantics, it's wording. We can't make money off power sales And if we were audited, KWH sounds like we're charging them for power. It's actually an administration fee that's formulated by using a penny per kilowatt hour. It's just a matter of wording, because we cannot show that we are selling them power. So we changed the wording to say administration fee. New Hampton has agreed that that's the way to go, that's the course of action to take in the future. So
So you're considering that about 4 million kilowatt hours?
considering that as to what we normally get, they usually use about 350,000 kilowatt hours per month.
Yeah.
Times a penny per kilowatt hour equals about $3,500, times 12 is roughly $40,000. That can go up or down depending on usage, depending on weather, depending on the year. This year, we're at or about $38,000, which was predicted last year. That's what you had put in the budget, so we're pretty close to that now. But we cannot show that we're selling power to them as an income without taking it out of our expenses. So the line from last year for power expense under line 715 should have been more like $2,450,000 instead of $2,100,000. So right there, you see a change at line 400. I wanted to explain that in case anybody saw a drastic decrease in line 400 and needed an explanation.
Okay.
So that was added to line 600. That changed it. Is that what happened?
No.
No.
The line 600, the increase has to do with our rate increase, the service charge increase, and the people that we buy our power from presented us with a 3-year outlook as to what our power production is going to look like, what our charges are going to be going forward for the next 3 years. They are going to be slightly coming down, which will mean our profits will go up slightly. And that's why you show an increase in electrical income from last year to this year. I took what they average or what they expect to sell us for power, I times it by the rate that they charge us and what we charge our customers. I added in the $0.015 kilowatt hour charge that we increased it for next year and the end of this year. And I also added in the monthly service charge increase that we charge our customers. And that's the figure I came up with.
I have to admit, I'm a little confused by the dates at the top of these pages and these columns. So 2019 superintendent is your proposal for next year.
Correct.
2018 voted is last year?
Is what last year's total, yes. That's what it is.
So, but 2018 budget committee is,
I didn't have a copy that had what was, that was what was voted on by our electric commission. I don't know what was voted on and finally approved by the voters. I didn't have that information. I wasn't given that spreadsheet. So basically, that's what we proposed to go into the budget for last year.
This one?
I'm sorry, did the commissioners approve this?
Yours is
Yes.
different. No, it isn't.
Linda's got the figures they're looking for.
Yeah, I know.
You don't have
And I can have those next meeting. I can certainly fill this up another line.
yeah, so the 2019 superintendent is also the commissioners?
The commissioners have approved this
That.
budget.
Yes, we have.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
So are there any questions on income under the electric department budget?
Evidently, everything wasn't put in the thing. Oh. Does anybody else? What is your first name?
Steve?
Does anybody else have any questions for Steve?
So 2018 actual is to what date?
October 25th, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I should have put that right.
Do you want to look at that?
Madam Chair, you have a question over here?
Sharon? I didn't get a copy of this, if I could. But I'd like to look it over before I have any questions. I mean,
It wasn't in your folder, because Patsy said you picked it up.
I did, but I didn't get a copy of that. I went through all my paper, I've been going through my stuff, I
Oh.
haven't seen that.
Okay.
Jeanette, actually, I had said to Steve last week that the Budget Committee, not demands, but requests that budgets are, given to the town hall, put in our packets at least a week ahead of time. And Steve walked these down last week on Tuesday or Wednesday, and it was put in everybody's, yes. So they've been in the town hall for a week.
I've been in there last Tuesday, voting day. I went in and got my new stuff, and this is what I got tonight.
Well, Steve might have put it in later
Tuesday
on.
afternoon around 2:30 is when I went up and saw Charlie. That's probably why you missed it.
You know what, I was right there at like 2:30 when I went to pick my kid up from school and vote.
Yep, so about that time, I dropped everything off to Charlie and made sure that they got in everybody's spot.
But I made sure that they were in there a week ahead of time.
Eli?
I'm going to say that at least the top sheet that we've been talking about was not in the packet that I was given at the town office, or Mardine was given at the town office.
So we can make some copies tomorrow.
I can certainly make copies and drop them off to Charlie tomorrow, so they're in everybody's inbox.
You're walking and just stop it.
Why?
I like-
Steve, we can,
Can they-
Steve, you don't have
Wait,
to, I'll
wait
just
a
make
minute.
some copies
Okay.
tomorrow.
No, I'd like,
Maybe they pick them up at your office, because they're saying that we're not having them and passing out, so I
No, I'm just saying that
prefer
I
not to
don't-
be accused that
No,
we're
I'm not accusing
interfering, because that's what it kind of appears here,
Charlie,
and
no,
I know you
no.
passed off 6 copies, and they were all put in their folders, and now it looks like we're the one that
No,
are
I'm
being
not
accused here.
accusing
So-
Sherry, can I
At
say
all.
something, please? Charlie, I don't think anybody's accusing anybody of anything. And I think what happens is sometimes people pick it up and then they forget they did. So make sure when you pick it up, because Sherry, there was nothing in your folder.
I
And
know,
Patsy had
because
said
I
it was
picked
gone,
stuff
that you
up.
had picked it up.
And I've been going through my stuff.
And the electric was in there, in everybody's.
I-
But Charlie, I don't think anybody
I'm not
is
That's
trying
what
to
it feels like.
accuse.
No.
I mean,
At
it doesn't sound like
Really?
that to me, and I think you guys do a great job at getting everything ready for us, so I don't think there's any problem there. And I want to thank Steve
Perhaps you can also
for coming
email
up
them to them?
I can do that. I can email these to you as an attachment, or I can drop it off at your business, or I can leave copies.
The only thing with emails half the time, a lot of people don't even print them out.
I know.
They want them printed,
I
so.
can leave copies right down with Karen downstairs.
But don't worry about this time, because
Okay.
I'll go in and see Charlie tomorrow and make the copies.
Okay.
So.
I don't believe that each department in town should have to email, the budget committee on their budget.
Oh, I don't
mean,
either.
No, but so I'm going to say, that, or at least we'll take a vote on this tomorrow night, but, when we meet. But I think supplying the budget committee a week ahead of time with the proposed budget, I think, is what we've done in the past, and certainly shouldn't go beyond that. And if anyone wants to pick up the budget, that they can do that at the elected department, from Karen, but to
And the thing
go,
is, Sandra, a majority of the people like them printed out anyway.
yes. And I purposely asked Steve to do that, so that it was, there a week ahead of time.
Eli?
What I said was that out of this entire package, I'm missing one sheet of paper,
And that's what I'll do tomorrow.
okay? This was there a week ago. This was there in on time.
And it can happen. One page.
I am not saying, good thing, I'm not saying that the town office screwed up. Alls that I am saying is that out of this entire package, am missing one piece of paper.
And that's all you're saying, and I'm gonna make the copy for you tomorrow, and it'll be in the town
And
office.
that's done.
Yeah.
Friday. Town office is closed tomorrow.
Why are they closed?
Why?
NHMA annual conference.
Oh, it's closed Wednesday and Thursday,
Patsy's gonna come in at 5:30 for a couple hours.
but it's closed Thursday too, right?
Yeah, but she's gonna
Okay.
come in on Thursday too, like 5:30.
You know what, Eli, I'll make it at my daughter's office tomorrow. I'll get it to you.
I've got extra copies at
I'll
the
pick,
company.
Oh, have you? Okay, then you can pick it up at the
If
electric
possible,
department.
Certainly may.
I'll pick it up tomorrow morning.
I'll have it ready for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Is that this copy?
Thank you, Steve.
Yes, the
It's
same
not that far, I just have to walk down over the
He
hill.
can have mine. He
Are there
can
any
have
other questions
mine.
for Steve? If not, Steve's welcome to.
I didn't think so either.
What else? Oh, the rest, I didn't know that you had questions on the rest of
Well,
it.
expanding money, yeah. We only got to the income part.
Yeah, we'll never get the expensive.
One piece of paper.
And we don't need to go over everything line by line.
No,
Any
but
questions you have, Rich? Just wanted to go through the income, because I knew there'd be questions
Yeah.
about the difference in.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay, again, the headings, so 2019 superintendent is also the commission's proposed, right?
Right.
Okay, so retired, just clear, retired employees and spouses, that's just health insurance?
That's just health insurance. That's the health
Okay.
insurance we need to carry for retirees and their spouses going forward every year.
Okay, so in a previous budget, that was called retirement benefits, the 2018 column, commission?
No,
No?
no, the retired benefits was because Lee was retiring in January, we had to account for his benefits for
Right.
the year. So, healthcare.
Oh, I see, so it was
Yeah.
for the superintendent.
Under the line of healthcare from last year's budget was mine and Lee's. Lee left in January, this past year, and we're already up to $21,981 this year as of October. That line's gonna be overspent. I don't believe that the retirees, spouses, were included in that line.
Oh,
I think they were left out, because that line's gonna.
They
definitely-
were left out.
They were left out. The only figures that were put in there was from me and Lee.
I have a question on the retired employees and spouses. If an employee passes away, is the spouse still, is her health insurance still paid for?
As of now, they are. I believe that's a choice the electric department made to continue to pay that.
Okay.
I don't know. I know this is a subject we'll be talking about tomorrow night at our meeting.
Okay.
It's been brought up. I know there was a memorandum that Charlie brought to my attention in 1999 that says if an employee passes away, the spouse is no longer eligible for continued.
That's why I
payments
was
for healthcare.
questioning it.
Yes, and that was just brought to my attention maybe a couple weeks ago, and we talked about it again today. So that is something I'm going to be bringing up at the meeting to the
Okay,
commissioners
thank you,
tomorrow night.
Steve.
And actually, Steve did bring that up when I went over today, to see Steve, and he told me that about the 1999,
Yeah.
and so we do need to bring that up tomorrow night. But as you
Because
can,
that's quite a bit of money when you think about it.
Yeah, it is. Yep. I mean, right now, it adds up to about, there's only one now that would be eligible to not have that, and that would be about $7,000 a year.
Yeah,
So-
it's a lot.
Yeah.
I have, just to be clear on how this reads. So, moving on to the lineman salaries. So if I read this correctly, 2018, they had 51,000 for lineman number one, and you're proposing 72,800,
Correct.
and that's quite an increase.
Yes, it is. It's, right now, the union's negotiated with our commissioners for a raise for the linemen, to get them up to an industry standard. They're well below industry standard, especially for New Hampshire. Comparing apples to apples, if you want to compare municipality and municipality, they're well below what a Woodsville or a Littleton or even a Wolfsboro pays their linemen. We've had a lot of turnover in the department. A lot of people have left because of the pay over the last 3 or 4 years. I wasn't here for those 3 or 4 years, but I've talked to a few ex-employees who've said the reason they left was they could go somewhere else for a lot more pay to do the same work. So
So how about the private industry? Is that also in line?
the private industry is way higher than
Yeah.
It's,
The
it's,
municipal one.
yes, yeah.
So even the 72,800 is not excessive?
The 72,800 is fairly close. There's also a line in one of the expense accounts that has on-call pay. With the on-call pay that we pay the linemen and the increase in their salary, that would get them, not to, but pretty close to what the industry standard is that a lineman's paid. Now, this is all, of course, negotiated with the electric department. The water and sewer department is affected because they have a union employee, and it has to go in front of the Board of Selectmen for approval also. So it's a process right now. We're anticipating that this is what their salary is going to be. I don't want to anticipate that their salary is going to stay the same and overspend the line next year if it does go through.
Well, doesn't the contract have to be approved by the townspeople?
Yeah, being the union negotiator from the last time we got our contract for the BOS, I would say that it was something that the union had a very large part in saying as well, as far as who was getting what, as far as, I guess the term would be level base pay or level increase was how we did it last time. And then you'll have to put it in front of the union.
In front of the
You'll have to put it in front of the union.
The union, as far as the union representative,
Yeah.
has already adopted this, approved it. It's been passed through the union and approved. It's been passed through the state. We've changed the job descriptions to accurately display what these linemen are actually, supposed to be doing for a job. It's more in line with what everybody else is doing, and that's, right now, we have a memorandum from the union that needs to be signed by our commissioners, passed on to the Water and Sewer Department for approval, and eventually, if that's done, it goes in front of the Board of Selectmen.
That would be the next time that you have a union contract due, which would be middle of 2019. Obviously, you can't give them raises without the union contract.
We
No.
can open
No.
up the contract on approval of the Board of Selectmen and the other departments.
Yes.
That's all being negotiated. But with that being negotiated and possibly being opened up in 2019 for their raise, I did the prudent thing and put their raise in here rather than not. If they do get approval and we don't put it in there, we're going to overspend the line. So adding in their raise and their on-call pay, which is under that same line from last year, I didn't want to put in the same salary if there was a chance of an increase.
Steve, I have a question, because I don't know that much about linemen and that, but you have the same amount of pay for the lineman number 1 and the lineman number 2. Is that because they both have the same requirements or responsibilities?
That lineman number 1 and number 2 are just that we have 2 linemen. That's not their classification.
Okay, that's what I was kind of...
Yeah, we've changed the descriptions and the names of, journeyman linemen is what they're actually called now. That's the highest pay that they can achieve in the department. Both of them are qualified for that pay. And the union has filed those changes to job descriptions with the state, with approval. And like I said, we're moving forward to go to each department to get approval. And I wanted to make sure that that was reflected in the budget, so.
Now, this has to be approved by the voters.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And I got a couple of questions. On the superintendents, under line 111, you've got another superintendent for $17,000. What is that?
That's my health insurance.
Your health insurance?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's apparently a
It doesn't say that.
Well, it's a sub,
subset of 111.
yeah, I wanted to
Right.
It's not
to display it in 2 separate.
Work it out.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a question.
Harold?
But kind of like devil's advocate here. You put the money in there for the lineman salary increase, but conversely, if that's not approved, will your rates be affected by that, or were the rates adjusted to cover that difference of $60,000 plus difference?
No. The rates were to cover what we pay with the increase that we pay for power to the people we signed a contract with. Quite an extensive increase from 2016 to 2017. Our power increased $160,000 a year, our power purchase. That was just one line item of the power purchase. I've got some handouts if you'd like, it explains all that. Yeah, our average cost to our power purchase people was .106 per kilowatt hour last year. Right now, we're averaging .107 per kilowatt hour. At that rate last year, at .106, our 4 industrial customers were paying the same rate we were paying. We were making no money off of our industrial.
Oh, I understand you're in the red. I understand you have to increase
So
things.
that's-
I'm just trying to
the
figure out the
rate-
logistics of it.
The raise had nothing to do
Okay.
with raising rates to the residents.
Thank you.
Okay.
Lee,
I got another question.
are you on the same page?
Huh?
Are you on the same page?
Have you received your CDL license yet?
Excuse me?
Have you received your CDL license
No.
yet? All right. Apparently, I guess the job specs have been changed then? Because my understanding was, and when I was in there, that everybody that was within the department either came in with the CDL or was expected to receive it within the first 6 months of employment. You've been there well over a year now. I believe it's 13 months, something like that, give or take.
Excuse me, what does that job descriptions have to do with budget?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It
So I
has to do with
did,
his raise.
in order to have, excuse me, but a raise, why does that, a
It's
raise
just
have
part
to
of
do?
it, Sandra, just part of it.
But it's not part of this budget process. That's job description and that's a raise. That has nothing to do with this budget.
My feeling is, Lee, if you have a problem with the CDL, then what you need to do is go to the commissioners' meeting. That's my feeling,
Yes,
Sandra.
yes.
Is that correct?
And I'd welcome that, yes.
And everything is included in salary.
I don't know how holding a CDLB would affect
I'm sorry?
somebody's, I don't understand how holding a CDLB would affect somebody's
Well,
salary.
everything that you would do. In other words, you need a CDL also to be able to move the equipment around.
But I think the CDL thing, I think that's up to the commissioners. The commissioners are the ones that are his immediate boss, and they would be the ones that have to decide what they're gonna do. So I think if you have a question with that, you would need to go to a commissioners' meeting and talk with the commissioners.
Yes.
That would be the best thing.
I got one more question on this page.
Yeah?
On the two different ones where you got one says Lyman 1 and 2, and the other one, you have 78.8 for salaries, sorry, 72, I'm sorry.
72.8.
But on the retirement, the 116 line, 166,000, one says 5,000. You meant 6,000 on that, didn't you?
That was 2018 commission, that's what was in there last year for 2018
Yeah, but
because
what I'm talking about here in this one, you've got 6,000.
I got
And for the retirement
8,300.
down here is 5,000, but your pay rate is the same.
But it's the same. This-
Because he had to put in what 2018 was. He couldn't change that
5 and
amount.
6,000 were for last year.
Right,
That's
Okay.
because-
they were in there.
That's
Okay.
because the lineman 1 made slightly more than the lineman 2.
Yeah, it was a little,
That's the same as lineman 2 was 49,000, lineman 1 was 51,000, but he had to put that in because that
So
was
that was the difference in
2018.
1,000, correct.
yeah, we're sort of used to having it go progressively year to year from left to right.
Okay.
So when you go from 2019 to 2018, I'm wondering, did they get the column wrong or something?
I wanted to put it so you could compare last year to this year.
Okay.
I probably should have moved actuals over to the other side so it flowed a little
That's
better.
okay, at least we understand.
Now we do. Confused.
Well, I mean, it said 2019, so we should understand that that's what it means.
So the next page, if there's any more questions on that page?
You don't call fast, that's divided by the two linemen.
What's that?
The two linemen?
Correct.
Or you included in that?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I wish. So the next page still continues with salaries for the executive secretary salary and the clerk salary, remain unchanged.
All right, general logistical question. When you had listed, obviously I was expecting to see another listing here. Lineman 1, lineman 2, obviously you have more than 2 employees. Are those just the 2 characteristics, the 2 job descriptions?
I only have 2 linemen.
Really? Okay.
I do have one more question.
Sure.
Doesn't the clerk salary get increased in 19 by union contract?
Yes, I did the 25 cents, the raise she's gonna get, that has to be figured into, so 25 times
50.
2008.
Okay,
So 50 cents, is it 50 cents?
It's showing
Yeah,
the same.
yeah, that's a mistake, yeah, that's my fault. Yeah, I should have, that's something I meant to point out, I didn't.
So which is the 2000, the 44,950 is the 2019?
No, the 2019 will end up being
Oh,
A bit more.
$1,040 more.
oh, so we need a different figure for that and FICA and Medicare and retirement?
Yes, slight increases in all.
And workman's comp is that also, that's salary related too, isn't it?
Workman's comp is lower for this, for the clerk and for the, because they're not,
But it is related to salary, right?
Yes.
When you increase the salary, you have to
correct,
increase
yes,
that.
yeah.
So we need new
Yeah, new
figures for
figures
that
for
whole
those, yeah, I'll give you new
section.
figures for the.
FICA,
salary.
Medicare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who gets part-time wages? You have part-time people?
Yes, we do. We have a part-time worker that used to work here who we call for extra help.
Okay,
And that's what falls under the part-time wages.
okay.
That ain't me.
Anytime.
Under the commissioner's salaries, I thought it was $1,000 each.
No, it's 1,500 and 200, 1,500 and 1,200.
Okay. But that doesn't come out right.
37.
That comes out 39.
Okay.
2 at 1,200 is 24.
Where does their FICA?
One at
That's right, it comes out at
1,500 comes out to 39, and you've got 4,000.
And
I'm
it's
trying to
not,
figure,
it's not a salary, it's a
I'm trying to
stipend.
figure out where the 4,000 came from.
Yeah, no, that's an error. That
It should be 39.
39.
But what is going to happen this year is that, and Glenn has proposed this, I did a couple of years ago, but it went back to us receiving the stipend. But this year, it's going to be different, so that, and we just found this out not too long ago, that it's going to be FICA and all that is going to be taken out of the,
Out of the stipend?
yes.
Well, doesn't the electric department have to pay their share of FICA and Medicare and wages? That's not in here.
What are you
We
talking
just-
about?
Yeah,
The
we-
employer has to pay FICA and Medicare.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what she's talking about.
That's what I just said.
So, okay, so it should be 4,000.
Not,
No.
it would have to be,
It would be 3,900, but then there's gonna be FICA and Medicare and everything taken
Right.
out of that.
And it's not taken.
or added to.
It's not now, but it's going to be.
No, you have to,
Oh, I see what
somewhere in
you're
this
saying.
budget, you
Yeah,
have to
I
have
see
the
what you're
FICA and
saying.
Medicare
Yeah, I see what you're
that the
saying.
employer is going to.
That's what Sandra just said.
Right.
But she said it's not in there, but they are going to be taking it out this year.
Yes,
And that wasn't told to me when I made it.
Right.
No.
Okay,
No
so
idea.
the budget has to have another line for, lines for FICA and Medicare.
She knows that.
Okay.
He didn't know that.
I had no
She
idea.
said
Okay,
that's
okay.
what's
it's
gonna
just
happen.
happened
All
just in the past
Yeah,
week.
Sandra just
Yeah.
explained that that's
Right.
what's gonna happen.
The
That's why-
budget, the draft of the budget had already gone out before we
Okay.
had,
That's why I put draft.
that's why it's a
I knew
draft
there'd be
and
questions,
not,
and I knew
yeah.
there'd be
Maybe you should have put drafty.
some changes to this, so.
Sherry?
On line, 435.
Wait a minute, right now we're on, you must be on a different page.
Hey, I don't know, it doesn't have page numbers.
We're on the page, at the top
Four.
says Executive Secretary and Clerk's salary. That's the page we're on.
We're on page
We'll do
3.
the next page.
Okay, well, let's wait until we finish this page.
All right.
So actually, you didn't include FICA or Medicare on all of them, like the treasurer's salary and that.
Well, once,
I mean, it will be, but it isn't on
No, it
this right
wasn't.
now.
Like last year,
Okay,
as far
I
as
understand that.
treasurer's salary, there
Yeah.
wasn't anything under
No.
FICA or anything like that.
So you've made a management decision to start taking out Medicare, FICA,
I
The
don't know who made
commissioners
that
have.
decision, but yes.
taxes.
Sure.
Commissioners?
Yes.
Well, it looks, does that follow over to the treasurer's salary? I'm just curious
I
at this
haven't been-
moment, because then there are 3 more lines.
Exactly, I haven't been told that. I can certainly inquire about it.
Sherry is.
From what Sandra says it will be.
I'm not sure that's what she said.
Yeah, I just asked her. I just
I
said,
believe that's what we're going to do.
I just said, is the
You know,
FICA and
that-
everything going to
yeah.
be taken out? And she
Well-
said yes.
No,
Out of the
it's going-
treasurer's.
I
yeah.
didn't know that, I didn't read the treasurer's
Yeah,
part.
Yeah.
it's okay.
The town pays the salary for the treasurer, and
We give,
we send them an invoice to
Yeah.
be
right,
reimbursed.
and we give them the money,
Yeah.
which is the town.
So you don't,
So, does the town take out FICA and Medicare?
yeah. The same way they do for the water and sewer.
Okay.
We get a bill we get a total bill, whether it's broken down or not is immaterial, but it is a bill.
Okay.
So we're invoiced.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the word.
Then that
And
one
we
doesn't
are
have
as
to
well.
show the
Yeah.
FICA and everything. Sherry?
On the overtime line, does that in 18 reflect, like, the on-call thing?
No.
Does that
No.
go
No,
with that?
on-call is
No,
completely
that's
separate
totally
pay.
separate?
Yeah. They get paid on-call pay for being on-call regardless if they come in or not.
Okay, I just didn't know if that was
No,
kind
no,
of in
it's
there
separate.
too.
Nope.
It's the same as with the police department, you know, they're on call pay and, yeah, it's,
Right.
it's
But
not.
that's a lot of overtime.
Well, then, you know, in talking about, you know, the elected department and as far as infrastructure, I did come prepared, Steve came prepared to show that, you know, I think I brought it up last time as far as meters, poles, I mean, we are so far.
I'm an advocate
And
for
everything,
overtime
and the
unnecessary.
reason for the, and that's what's happened, is that poles are breaking, meters are down, and the guys are being called out a lot.
And they had problems with the transformers too, remember?
Yeah.
And in the wintertime with trees and ice.
Brownouts,
Yeah.
Yeah.
several.
How many poles do you have that need to be replaced?
Well, that's what I'm handing out now. On the
I
first.
think everybody should be aware of
For
that.
everybody.
Your
Make it a
question's how
lot
many on
easier.
Thompson Street?
We've started a study on, the town's divided up into circuits. We have 5 main circuits, a small 5th circuit that feeds one customer here.
Do you have
down
any
the mill.
more, Steve, that?
I thought I had made enough copies for everybody, but I can't seem to find them. But for instance, on that page that's being handed out, we've done a study of our first feeder and 10% of our second
Sorry.
feeder. We've totaled up 640 poles, and each pole's stamped with a date, the date of manufacture. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the date it went into the ground, but you can give a rough estimate that they don't sit around too long before they're put into the ground. An average pole's life is between
Sure.
25 and
That's
37
mine.
years.
What'd you
I
say?
believe excuse me?
What'd you say?
An average pole's life is about 25 to 37 years. If you look at the study that we did, and I don't even have a copy for myself in front of me, I can't remember all
I
the
gave
numbers.
Sherry mine.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Will you be, that'll
I'll look
also
at it.
include the upgrading of your fuses, your inline fuses and such, that they're starting to become antiquated?
well, we're doing a study now. Eversource has asked for a study to be done because they're installing a device to protect their system from ours,
Right.
between our substation and theirs, so what happened on Father's Day
Yeah.
won't affect so many of their customers.
I was a
So-
fly on the wall for that conversation,
Yeah,
that's why I asked.
Right, so to help them with their study, with their settings, for their equipment, they need to know what our settings are in our substation, and then our first device on every feeder outside of our substation. We're in the process of giving that information now. But, you know, with the pole situation, you know, the average cost of a utility pole, depending on its size, is about $400. Of the 644 poles inspected so far, only on Circuit 1 and 10% of Circuit 2, 275 of those poles are 30 years or older. 183 have no data on them. Doesn't mean that they're over 30 years old or under, or it just doesn't have data. 95 of those poles are 20 to 30 years old, getting ready to expire by industry standards. The estimated cost to change out the poles that are just over 30 years old is $275 times 400. That's $110,000. We haven't even talked about the labor costs, additional equipment that goes on these poles. Some poles require a guy wire. Some poles are going to require to be redressed with new hardware. That all costs. That's all additional costs. To do the work ourselves is extensive. To hire an outside contractor, we usually use a company called JCR. They've since gone union, so obviously they're passing that cost along to anybody that they can. It's not their fault, that's how a business works. They've given us a new list of, just to set a pole is $697 for an
So it
outside
costs more to
contractor.
set it than what the pole costs.
Exactly. So their increase has gone up. We can't get all of these poles obviously done in a timely fashion with just the 3 people we have at the electric department, so going to an outside source is going to cost even more money. So the reason for all the rate increase and the reason for the extra spending on some of the line items and the overtime is because a lot of the things that are happening are affected by the infrastructure. That's just part of it. I mean, the cost, the money that we're losing at the electric department when it comes to meters, our old meters. I've got a study here that was done by the people that we have our training through. It's estimated that our recoverable annual revenue is about $336,000 based on the numbers we gave them in 2013. Now, the meters that we have in the field, if they were operating slow in 2013, certainly haven't speeded up since 2018. They're probably operating a lot slower. We did a study on 2 of the meters that we pulled out and sent them out for analysis. One was working at 90% efficiency, the other was working at 92% efficiency. That's just 2 meters in the field. Now, most of our meters in the field, out of the residential customers that we have, 1,365, we're estimating that about 70% of them are mechanical type. Mechanical type meters tend to slow down over years. Digital type meters either work or they don't. So all of this is figured into this budget. How to improve our infrastructure, how to get more money back by replacing our old meters with new ones. Because a lot of meters, and Lee probably knows this, if you leave your house and you leave 2 lamps on during the day, you're using electricity. But an old mechanical meter probably won't even spin to record that. So when we read the meter, you're not paying for that electricity. The electric department is. Because the meter that the power company that's billing us is reading is certainly efficient to pick up that usage that's coming out of that house. The meter will not spin. They've done tests on them. They will not spin. They break down. It's like a car or a human. The older we get, the slower we become. So without increasing the rates,
Not me.
without increasing the rates,
Watch it.
and without increasing line items to cover some of these expenses, the infrastructure is going to continue to get worse. And this all goes to your overtime. I hate to be long-winded, but
Yeah, no, I get it.
With the failing
Because it is a
infrastructure
bottom line budget,
and-
so
right.
if you can semi-stretch things out, I get that,
Yep.
but the explanation always helps.
yeah, and the infrastructure, as it fails, needs to be upgraded.
So
Harold?
you said it was $697 to set the pole plus the $400 for the pole?
If we supply the pole,
Okay,
the company that's
Do
going to
we
set
have
it is
any
going to...
poles?
Yes, we do.
okay.
But not enough, we don't have enough
No, we
poles.
Well, yeah, no,
I was
I
gonna
get
say.
that.
Just to
but-
give you a reference, the poles that we received this year, I ordered 35 poles of various sizes, cost us $11,000, just for 35 poles. So,
Okay.
I have a question for you. Your circuit that you studied when you said that they need to be replaced, would that happen to also include North Ashland Road? Because then there's a lot of them that you pulled out there.
no, that didn't include North Ashland Road. North Ashland Road has not been included in this study. This study included Thompson Street, River Street, Levitt Hill, out to the covered bridge, out to the Holderness line on Route 3, Owlbrook Road, Peppercorn, Hicks Hill, Mountain View, and the rest of Owlbrook Road out to.
So you were tentatively looking forward, if the warrant article had passed, you'd already have your research done as far as what poles need to be pulled up there. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Lee?
Just to answer you, Harold, back when we took over North Ashland Road, that was all built brand new.
Okay.
Every bit of it was built brand new. There are still a couple old poles that need to be transferred over.
Right.
But for all intents and purposes, probably, no, 95% of it is brand new poles out there. Well, from the time that we took it over back in 15.
There's not a lot of work that needs to be done on the current infrastructure out there, except some of the leftover things that we need to finish from when we purchased North Ashland Road.
I knew you had to move some wires from one pole to the other or something
From
like
the
that.
old poles to the new poles, and a lot of the other things that have to be done there are the companies that have to do that work, so, you know, those are just added expenses to what we're talking about of upgrading the infrastructure.
But the meters on North Ashland Road would be the ones that you inherited from New Hampshire Electric?
From the co-op.
Yeah,
Some
and
of
90%
them
of
have been
those-
changed, but a lot of them need to be done.
And 90% of those on North Ashland Road are mechanical meters.
Okay.
And a lot of those are electric heat customers that use a lot of power, especially this time of year.
A lot of condominiums out there.
Yeah,
Correct.
electric.
Yes, a lot of the ones at Riverbend have electric.
We purchased 200 meters, 200 digital meters that are AMR ready, which is automatic meter reading, looking towards the future. We've purchased refurbished meters, which are actually $2 cheaper than a non-AMR meter, and they have double the warranty. We got lucky, we found a distributor that was refurbishing these meters, came at a good price. So right now, we're compiling a list of the top 200 users on the residential side, because these are residential meters, and we're gonna go out and replace these meters. And after we've replaced them, we're gonna take a 3-month study and see how much that money has saved us and increased. That way we can know going forward that it's a good idea
Good
or
thing, yeah.
it's not a good idea. But I have a sheet here that lays out, and I do have copies for everybody on this, that lays out how much, if we were to increase 5% of our production through replacing these meters, what we would save approximately per month. It starts out on the top line. It says that, and of course, Sandra, you know, I think you already have a copy.
I do.
I had just that. On the top line, it shows what we pay for power
You're welcome.
to our power purchase people, including the hydros in town, and who supplies our power through their transmission lines, Eversource. Below that line, it shows what we bill out to the customers, and below that line, for every month, it shows what our approximate net gain is. Based on the increase, based on a 5% change in changing out those meters by getting 5% of what we're losing back, we can possibly save about $131,000 a year, just in changing out the meters. And that's based on this year's numbers. It could go up based on usage, it could go down. It depends on how much customers use. But these are the areas we're focusing on saving money. And it doesn't come without cost. You gotta buy things, you know, to improve what you have in the field. So the overtime, yes. We're hoping that will go down with the increase that we spend on infrastructure, you know, helping out with some of the outages we've had, so.
Jeanette?
Sandra?
At the last meeting, I wanted to, and I don't know whether you knew this or not, but in the figures that I had given you, you know, as far as transmission costs,
Yeah.
I estimated that, but since then, you know, Steve has given us something, you know, and I'd like to tell you that in 2015, our capacity charge was 167,000. This year, or in 2017, it is 327,000. Now that tells you that how much of an increase that was, and I would like to say we did know about that. The commissioners would,
That capacity charge is set by ISO
It's-
New England.
Yeah.
It's set 3 years in advance. We
It
know
was-
3 years from now what those charges are gonna be. That is figured into the budget that they gave me and going forward into our budget for power purchase.
That just
and
about
because,
doubled.
and because we knew about that 3 years ago, the commissioners did not know about this 3 years ago. Otherwise, it would have been without, you know, we should have raised the rates. I mean, if you look at just that capacity charge alone, increasing that much, and that's why we are in the red today. It's astronomical. So going forward, I
So
think,
moving forward with the
you know,
budget.
that's what we're trying to do is the infrastructure. And that's why, you know, we had to raise the rates and that's why our budget is the way it is today. We had to increase.
What we have to remember, and a lot of people just, you know, if you want to complain about the 25 or you want to complain about the bills, look at other people in other towns, look what they're paying. When I tell them what I'm paying for electricity, they're going, I can't believe that's all you pay. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's,
We're trying to keep the cost to the customers as low as we can while
Yeah.
still keeping the lights on. It's not easy. I mean, Lee did a great job keeping the lights on with what he had.
yeah,
But going forward, we need to start increasing our infrastructure. We have to kind of zoom in and focus on our infrastructure rather than saving as much money as we can by not increasing our, spending on our infrastructure. So there's other aspects out there that we're losing money on that we need to look at, but this is the biggest. We're
Yeah.
starting with the highest and we're working our way down, so.
okay, one more question and then we'll have to go on because it's getting late and we have
It
other
is.
things to do. Sharon?
Have you ever thought about doing a capital reserve fund? Warrant article or whatever? I
Well,
know-
you can't do those,
I
right?
mean,
I don't think
They
as a
can't do
department,
those.
we're not allowed to have a capital reserve.
Right,
I don't know, everybody else does
That's
it.
what the court
so
said.
I don't
No,
know. I
but
just
the
thought
court
I'd
system
ask.
said we can't do that.
that's right,
Yeah, but we are looking at a CIP.
yeah.
Yeah,
Do
we
you have a
are.
dollar for a grant line or anything? Stick the dollar in there for the grant line, if you can find any grants and stuff.
I've looked into grants. Most of the grants that for municipal, they're not grants, they're actually low-interest loans, which, we tried one for lighting in town, because LED lights in town would save us a lot of money, but there's no grants out there to upgrade, there's only low-interest loans, so.
I have one question, it has to do with lighting. Here on line number 610, it says poles,
Oh,
transformers.
so you're on the next page.
Yeah, you
Oh,
said
yeah.
one more question, right?
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Under equipment purchase, line 610, it says poles, transformers, meters, line, sectionizers, wire, wheel trailer. My question about that line is, the significant increase, is that partially because of your interest in moving forward with the LEDs? I noticed them popping up around town. Is
No,
that
the ones
some of
that popped up around town, we haven't purchased, those have been purchased previously.
Okay.
They've been around, we've been looking for places to
Okay.
put them, so the
Right.
public can see, how well they light up an
Public can
area.
see.
If you notice the one we put down in front of Freudenberg across from Dollar General, we've
Yeah.
shut off the two lights on either side of that light to show you
And
how
you have
much.
one here at 132, I've seen that.
Correct, and it'll show you how much illumination one light can actually give in the space of three, which would save a lot of money.
Right.
An LED uses significantly less power than a regular HPS.
I mean, there's things to study logistically. I mean, I'm sure that would affect your in lieu of taxes because of your efficiency rate. But
Exactly.
would your lighting, for future purposes, would those LED lights, would you put that on line 610, or do you think that would still go under line 635? Because that only says new bulbs and ballasts, which LED has neither of those.
Right, yeah, but
So would that go under new equipment purchases in the future? Should we look for that?
probably because we're still gonna have older lights in town,
Right,
so
that
we'll
are-
probably try to keep
As
that
you
separate.
move them out when they get antiquated?
Move them out, right,
Okay.
and then each line would go up and the
Okay.
other one would go down.
That's what it kind of lockstep.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Thank you, sir.
What is that?
Wait,
Is there any consideration of moving about looking for another bucket truck? Because they're cheaper than what we're paying, like $2,600 a month right
Yeah,
now.
right now, I looked into what we do right now with renting a bucket truck. The bucket truck, the larger bucket truck that we have, we rent. It costs us $2,600 a month. I've contacted Alltech about purchasing, doing a 10-year lease. We could actually do a 10-year lease with a brand-new bucket that we would, obviously own for the 10 years with the option to buy at the end of 10 years, and a new digger truck for about $800 more a month than what we're renting this one single truck for. We do have two diggers. We are in the process of selling one of the diggers. With the amount of people we have, we can't operate two diggers at once with three people. You don't have proper personnel on the ground to operate both vehicles at the same time. So when we do need a second digger truck, it's gonna be outsourced, and it's gonna cost us money, because we need extra personnel to operate that second truck. That's a little more extra money coming in if we sell the truck, but it's also gonna go towards, if we do have an emergency and need another crew, it's gonna go towards paying them. So, without the increase in personnel, there's no need for a second digger truck, only as a backup. I don't think we've used that digger truck once since I've been here. We've never had both out at the same time.
So in other words, you're thinking of selling that and buying a bigger bucket truck?
We're
Well,
looking into that.
We're gonna, that's something we're in
That might
discussion
be,
right now,
yeah.
but selling it is definitely what
Yes.
we're moving
Yeah.
forward doing. And purchasing a bucket truck and getting rid of the rental is what I would like to see. For now, it's in the budget as a rental.
Yeah, because it's costing almost $6,000 more a year than when I was there.
And the
Because
rental
we had
cost is
that
about
rental.
$31,000
We
a
had that
year.
rental, you would have had it back in March or April at the latest, and that was for $2,036 a month.
So that's all being discussed.
Okay, the next one?
Which page?
The next one, the North Ashland Road bond principal is, that's the next one I have.
My maintenance, I was wondering about, what
Okay.
is mutual aid?
Mutual aid, we have an agreement since we've joined NEPA, which is the people that provide our training to our folks. They're a municipality, they encompass most municipalities in New England and New York. When you join NEPA, they are required to send you mutual aid if you call for mutual aid. We've used it once last year. We had a storm come in where we had poles down in two separate parts of town. We weighed the cost of having them come in and help us put the power back on in a timely manner, or leaving customers out for 3 or 4 days, which is what it was gonna take to put them back. We thought it was prudent, it was a cold night, cold day, we thought it was better to have outside crews come up, pay the extra money to get the power on quicker. So that's part of the mutual aid agreement, we have to pay for that.
So that's the payment when you call somebody in?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions on that page? Okay, the next page, I have a question on the bond principal. 135,000, is that 2018 and 2019?
I haven't received that, that's why this is a draft, I was gonna address.
I was just gonna say, why does it
Page.
stay the same?
I haven't got new numbers
Okay,
from the treasurer yet.
Okay.
She's in the process of getting me those numbers.
okay,
She's got a lot going on with the town right now, so
okay.
Yeah,
she's gonna get those.
That's about right, because it's, the bond is right now is,
Why would it be the same for 2018 and
should go down.
2019? It should go down.
oh, you're talking about the interest?
Yeah, no,
No.
The bond
principal
principal.
No, the principal should go up.
No, it shouldn't. The principal shouldn't,
Well,
you
Payment
pay on
excuse me,
it.
I'm sorry, but you're paying right now approximately just over $12,000 a month, or about 140.
It
Right,
should go
but
down
some of that
as-
should go on the principal.
Right, as the loan matures.
Right.
Principal should come down.
Right,
Yeah, I haven't got
The
those
interest
numbers
should
yet.
come down.
okay,
I will have those when this is finalized.
okay.
How many more years of that do you have left?
2.
2020, I believe April of 2020 will be when it's paid off. Don't quote me on that, but I know it's
Correct.
2020.
I'm sure there's all kinds of people in TV land that wanted to know.
I look forward to it being gone.
A lot of customers are
Yeah.
your same payments.
Okay, any other questions?
Depreciation?
That's the comment I was gonna have for you.
Okay.
Over the years, I've seen that, I put it in here. I originally had it zeroed out. I looked back through the last 7 budgets. It's been in there every year, the same amount, and the expense has been 0 every year.
It's been a little bit less than that.
I don't understand why a depreciation is in a financial budget. I don't believe it's a financial expense. To me, it's if you're selling the company as a whole, the depreciation would matter in a audit or a financial.
Maybe that
statement.
should be talked about when you have a meeting with the
Financial
commissioners.
statement, we've talked about it.
We have.
And it's something that we feel we need to leave in as far as an expense for future.
Well, if you were putting that money aside in some account,
No, no,
But
no,
you're
no,
not doing
no.
that.
No, no, no.
Depreciation is not an, it's a non-tangible,
Right.
Right.
like your car depreciates. It's,
Yeah,
Why would you put that
Mhm.
much? Why we should just keep that.
You might want to talk to your auditor. I think I talked to Patrick, your auditor, about that
Okay.
before, out of curiosity, and he had, I don't remember off the top of my head. Maybe I can see if I still have the email, but Melanson and Heath is your auditor, I believe, still. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
There
understand.
is rationale behind it.
Yeah.
But it's not real money.
No.
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 So
Yeah,
you
why is it
budget
in there?
unreal money. I don't
Budget an
understand.
expense for it, but it never comes out.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're actually going to take that money and buy a new pole to replace the old pole, yeah, sure.
Oh, but
But
you're
that-
not,
you
it's
can't do that.
depreciation.
Well,
It-
they can create a fund.
Why wouldn't,
Eli's still talking.
Now, depreciation used to be, when I took accounting more years ago than I'd like to remember now,
We won't discuss
Yes,
this.
Couple years ago?
is that you had a depreciation account, but you offset it with basically a savings account. So that you could say, I have $130,000 worth of material that we're going to depreciate over 10 years. And the offsetting part to that was every year for the next 10 years, you build up an account for $130,000. What I see here, what I would miss here is the zero-sum effect.
Right.
We just have money going,
Out.
well, we
Well-
have non-existent money just sitting there.
And I don't think that's ever been questioned before, and it's been years.
It has been, it's always
has
been in
been.
there.
I'm not,
No, I'm not, I know you're not, but you're right, it's been years that,
It's
and-
always been in there.
and it's always been in there, whether it
Yeah.
should be or shouldn't be.
Sharon?
We'll get that squared away.
I was gonna say, should that line be one of those lines that is $1 or whatever that everybody likes to keep open and put the dollar in, or?
No, it's a question that you brought up, and I think we need to bring it to our accountants and
Yeah.
take care of it with them
Yep.
and settle it there.
no, you have,
Eli?
you have equipment, you have buildings.
That you
have
depreciate, right.
Poles, you have some, I won't say people, but
Thanks.
that you have to eventually replace. There's a you have $130,000 worth of cost that you have to save up for. That's all that used to be the rule. Things have changed since I did
Straight
that.
line depreciation is what I think you're talking about.
Yeah, straight line depreciation.
Okay, are there any other questions for Steve? That was it.
I will take that.
Sharon?
Thank you, Steve, yes. And I just want to point out, this is the importance that I say that we should be meeting with the department heads. This right here, he was extremely helpful tonight, and I don't think, I understand he's an elected department, whatever, but he's still a department head of the town. This is why I emphasize that we like to meet with the department heads. I think they give us more information than the select board could ever. I'm not trying to degrade them or whatever. I just feel that meeting with the actual department heads is way more helpful, and thank you, Steve, for answering these questions.
And that's what we
I
had said
appreciate
at the
that.
last meeting. We said we want to meet with each department head. What I like about it is, lots of times we'll have a question and no one has the answer, but the department head does. So, that's what I like about meeting with the department
I just
heads, because you have the
wanted to bring that
answer, the explanation. If you don't, you're gonna find it out for us, so.
And a comment to everybody here, beyond budgets, if
Yeah.
anybody ever has a question, everybody knows where the electric department is, you know the phone call, you know
Yeah.
the phone number.
Yeah.
Be more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for your time, really appreciate that.
Everybody in TV land too?
Sure.
Okay.
You're on the hook. Come on down.
Deb, were
If I
you
don't have the
here
answer, I'll try to find it.
just to listen tonight, or were you here to present something?
No, I'm not presenting.
Okay, I just wanted to check.
Thank
After
you.
that, I figured I better check. so.
She is an alternate.
She's an
I
alternate.
knew she was an alternate,
Yeah.
but she's not usually here at the same time.
No, we talked at the last meeting and,
Good,
yeah,
good.
Good for the
just in
alternate
case I'm
to
not
show up.
here and she's all caught up.
Okay, now we can go back to the executive budget. On page 5. Bye, Steve, thank you.
See you tomorrow
See you
night.
tomorrow night. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.
I have no other questions on page 5. On page 6, I remember something at the recent selectmen's meeting. I think it's related to the computer expenses.
I was just gonna say that, David.
Okay.
Yep. That line can be decreased,
What are we talking about?
the exact computer expenses.
Page 6, number 11.
Yep,
Ending in 342.
yep, because we went ahead and purchased the equipment this year.
So what would the proper number be now, Charlie?
I believe the 11770 plus the 330 is 2100 minus 10 410 8310.
8310.
Yep.
So on that line, you still have 41.85% left, which is $4,603 that can cover you the rest of this year. And that line's gonna get dropped down to 8,310. Really just.
Yes, it could get reduced to 8310. Yeah.
Could.
It is.
Well, you guys vote on it, yes.
Is that a number?
So if you look at the note says expense for BMSI finance software was previously under the line item, but I moved it. So that's also the reason why that's reduced. So the computer expenses line will be using the remaining portion of that for the BMSI. The reason being is because our BMSI, well, like it says, BMSI, our software is under the executive. I felt it should be under finance.
Yeah.
Because it's accounting software, not under executive.
8310, okay.
Sherry?
Number 13 on page 7, we're increasing that. No, we're
Decreasing.
decreasing that 500.
Mhm.
Okay, because you still have 683, okay, sorry.
I was wondering about 14. We're still keeping that account open?
Yeah, why?
In case you have to go back?
I guess, yeah.
Okay, it's not
Yeah.
a big deal,
No,
but,
it says it's a placeholder.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Why did, number 21, why did they take the $1 out for the executive grant writing?
That was in there in years past. I think it was because the prior town administrator went to a course,
Yes, a grant
Grant-
writing course.
grant writing course. I attended it, I think in 2016, my first year, and I just don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
Sherry has.
Sherry?
23 on that page,
Mhm.
page 8, restoration of the books. I've gone back the last couple of years, we're really not using that. Why? Because there is an RSA that says the BLS needs to follow up and do that. And from what I've seen in the past, I went back to 2014, we're really not using that. And if we are, we're using like $500 of it or something. Why? Do we, I mean, we
Yeah.
keep putting $2,000 in there.
Right.
I didn't go into what the RSA was.
Right.
But I did notice today that that's under an RSA, that has to be done,
But they haven't been
but
doing
they
it.
have not been doing it, and
It-
it says that it's a BOS responsibility to do it.
It was done this year. If you look at the back of your expenditure report, we encumbered the $2,000 from last year, and $1,000 was used for it. I believe the clerk told me last time that they were behind on that. And that would probably be the same thing that we do this year, is we can encumber what's left. I
Well,
suppose I could find out if we really need the $2,000 and check with the clerk.
cool. All right, so not going with the updated paperwork that you handed me today, but it was at 100%. A week and a half ago. So if they've restored since then, but like a week and a half ago when I got this one, it's at 100%. So, just a question.
Yeah. 1941.
Saying we don't use it.
That's
But it's an
because you're encumbered.
RSA and it has to be used. So we need to pay attention to that.
No, I think that's a valid point. One thing I have done, looking through the totals here, how Charlie laid this out this year, we have this little spreadsheet on the next page, on the page 9. You'll see at the bottom, under the executive total, the increase for the year is, it's only $2,134, which is 1%. So if you look at this year's budget and look at last year's budget, it's a 1% increase, which in the years past, I think it's 6 or 7 years I've been involved in this committee, most of it has been between 3 and 5% increases, and this year we're at 1%.
Right.
So just
Yeah,
wanted
and
to point
it
that
will be less with the reduction in the computer expense line.
Right, that's what I'm saying, is you're gonna be less than 1% increase.
Right. And I'll find out for you, Sherry, about the restorations of the book, where we're at. That was handled by the clerk
The town
before,
clerk.
and then it was Board of Selectmen responsibility.
No, I'm just
I'll
saying.
find out
on
what's
this
going
one,
on with it.
says still 100% going
Yeah,
away tonight.
yeah, I see it too.
But,
So we'll try to
yeah,
get
look
that
at it, because it is an
resolved.
RSA that has to
Yeah.
be done. And put the money in there.
Okay, election and registration?
Oh, did mine look?
Well, I have a question about department heads. Are we going to go through these again with the department heads, or if that's what our preference is? Should we invite department heads to look at certain budgets? I mean, when we get to the police chief tonight, if we ever got to it tonight, would we?
We won't get to it tonight. It's not gonna be too much longer.
I just wondering, should we skip
Maybe
over
get
this and
20
wait for the
minutes.
town clerk, tax collector, or?
I think it's a good idea to go over it ahead of time, and then we're prepared, so when we meet with the department head, then we can ask the questions that we have.
Okay, whatever you want to do, I just wondering.
We better meet more often.
We're gonna have to. We know that. We know that. So election and registration, there really isn't much you can change on that. I mean, that's
Minimal change.
pretty,
Oh, I got a question.
yeah.
Town clerk's longevity pay. That's $1,040 increase.
That's not on,
Along with tax collectors, that's another $1,040. That's $2,080 a year,
That was in the budget. They started that, what, a couple years ago, Charlie?
2016.
The longevity line? The
Yeah.
longevity line? What happened there in 2018, the selectmen gave the clerk a raise similar to with the union employees. It happened after the vote, So that's why there's, and then the request, so if you add in the raise and the request versus what was voted upon, that's why you see the double increase.
And my question there was, and I don't have the town reports,
Want me to
but
get it
what
for
year
you?
was it that the town, that the tax collector, tax collector had a warrant article in there, and so. did the,
2017, I think it was 2017.
Town treasurer, what year was that, do you recall?
I believe it was 2017.
When?
2017? I think it was 2017, right?
17, I think he said.
17.
Or 17?
I don't
Yeah.
remember.
16.
Looks-
Who knows? But that failed, so.
Correct.
Yeah, but they gave that, the selectmen turned around and gave it to them anyway after.
Not
No,
the
they
whole
didn't.
amount.
No, they didn't.
They were
It was
asking for
totally
more
separate.
than the selectmen were
No,
given.
if you
That's
go-
right.
No, I agree. If you go in the back, where he's got all the different things and it's listed, it's about the same or a couple dollars less.
Yeah.
And the selectmen did not give it to them. What happened was, the selectmen gave them a raise, and then they put a warrant article out for more money. So it had nothing to do with the selectmen giving them that money. They did not give them that money that the townspeople
Yeah.
voted on.
Yeah.
We gave them the money that was in the budget.
That's right. They did not give them the money that
Yeah.
the townspeople voted on for the separate warrant article.
And just the clerk, not the treasurer. To be
Yeah.
clear.
Yes,
It was just the
both.
clerk, not both. It was just the clerk, not the treasurer.
Yeah, the treasurer asked for money too on that warrant
She
article.
asked, but the selectmen
Same
didn't.
here.
Right, neither, I
Didn't
mean,
give
they
them.
did not get that money that the warrant article was
Yes,
voted
that's
on.
correct.
Yeah. My thing there is you're giving one person longevity pay.
Well,
When the union finds out about it, look out.
well, that's probably, because this is an
Well, it's been
elected
for 2
position.
years.
The reason is it's an elected position.
Yeah.
So if she should ever lose an election, then you don't want to give all the raises she's accumulated over the years to somebody who just came along and was the first year in their job. So that's why the basic town clerk salary is at 19,000. And this particular clerk gets a longevity pay. So I would presume that if someone came along and she lost the election to a new person, that new person would only get the clerk salary and none of the longevity. Am I correct?
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Right, so, this,
Well,
What do you mean?
right. The
I
longevity is
personally,
somebody's been there.
I personally understand the rationale behind the longevity line. I don't agree with that argument, that if the clerk was to leave, that the person would all of a sudden get the longevity. No, it's the Board of Selectmen's budget, it's at their discretion what they want to compensate the position. If the position doesn't agree with that, then they're more than, I guess you can say, welcome to have their salary voted upon as an elected official, which technically what elected officials should have.
Right.
Furthermore, the clerk also has the discretion per the law to have a fee base that of all the amount of income that they take in, like registration and fees, they could have the choice to take a certain percentage of that. With that, I think it's like maybe 3% or somewhere on those lines, but 99%, I haven't heard any of them that take it, because it doesn't come out to be the same.
Right.
So the selectmen, it's their budget and their discretion on whether or not they would do that if they came to that.
Harold?
Sorry.
I'll tell you. I guess I'd just like the committee to realize that on line 2, when you have the explanation underneath, it says this line is used for longevity salary. The town clerk requested $1 per hour increase. I would just ask that the committee puts in the back of their head when we're discussing this, that the original backing of this was to be lockstep with union raises. But this year, the union folks are getting a 50-cent raise, and she's asking for $1. So I think we really need to consider that. I think it was 2016 or 2015, we had the original discussion about this. And the rationale that was brought forward to us by the said clerk, who's the same clerk now, was that she believed her increases should be lockstep with the union. I think, as my opinion, I'm just one person here, but my opinion is, good for the goose is good for the gander. If the union's getting less, then why is she asking for more? Something we should consider.
I understand what you're saying, Charlie, about it being the selectmen's budget.
Right.
It's the only position in town that is elected and is under town insurance and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
No other elected official has any of that stuff. The only one is a tax collector, town clerk. And
Sure.
now you're throwing longevity pay in on top of it. Why
Well-
not put it on her salary line instead of
Oh,
longevity pay?
we've had that discussion. I mean, I honestly had that discussion when I first started. Like I just said, I personally don't really agree too much with the longevity, but the argument was what David said. The people that prepared this budget before felt that if a new person came along, they thought that they were entitled to that amount.
And that's, and the
I
selectmen
personally, like I said,
voted
I don't
on it.
agree with it.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
selectmen voted
maybe
on it.
next year we do combine it. You know, the total salary for the clerk is a little bit under $48,000. If you combine all of this.
Sure.
Sherry?
Does that person usually not work on Fridays, and how's that been working without Wendy there? Is that
No,
person
she-
been working Fridays, or is the deputy working?
She works Fridays. Yep. The
Well,
deputy.
normally she doesn't, but since Wendy's gone.
No, she does
is.
work Fridays.
Yeah. Fridays during the summer. She's talking
Oh,
Fridays during the summer.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
summer.
She has that time coming to her.
Yeah.
I
So-
got one more question, or
Please?
it's not necessarily a question, but if you do combine the salaries next year,
Right.
I would ask that personally, I would ask that a rate study be done of comparable with other towns our size,
Mm-hmm.
to see what they're paying.
Mm-hmm.
I think we did that last year, it was 37.5 to 51.2. The number sticks in my head when she brought this to us last year.
I think it was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but that, I remember it was 37 to 51 and 37 to 52.
Because for the longevity, that's quite a raise.
Well, like I said, my only argument to that is, being one of the people that sat down with the union negotiations, that after, you know, we worked through a union negotiation, she was, hey, me too, and now that everybody else is getting less down the scale, she's still asking for the same.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be.
That's-
I agree, Harold, I agree with you.
I mean,
What's fair is fair.
And I agree, Howard, if she gets the same percent raise as what the union does, I don't have a problem with that. That longevity pay is 20% of her salary. Between the salary and longevity, that longevity pay is 20% of what she gets.
This longevity requested in 2019, Charlie, that's at the $1 an hour?
Well, yeah, the 2018 that was voted upon went up, I believe, 75 cents an hour. And then this year, the clerk asked for a $1 raise.
So that's what that 5,926 is?
Yeah.
It's including the $1 an hour,
So
right?
technically, the 75 cents, I believe it was 75 cents,
Last year was 75.
that will be in the default budget.
If it gets voted in.
Yes.
So either way, she still gets a bigger raise than the union.
No, because the union, everyone got 75 last
But
year.
This year, they get 50.
Sherry?
But, you know,
So if you cut that in half and
No.
give her 50 cents an hour, it would be only an increase of $520 increase. Of course, that's for both longevity lines, because if you look in the other one, it's another $1,040. So technically, that longevity line goes in there twice. So
Yes.
if you cut it in half and which matched where the union is, that's a $500 increase in each line instead of the $1,040. Which makes it
Okay.
$5,406.
So when we vote on the budget, that's what we're gonna have to consider. Harold asked us if we would consider it, and I think it's a good idea. Any other questions? If not, we can go on to property taxes.
Oh,
Property
I had a
taxation?
question on the next page, number 8.
Okay, then let's go over that. If that's, number 8 is Medicare.
No, number 8
8 is
on,
clerk
we're
expenses.
still on election registration.
Page 12.
Yeah,
What page are you on?
12.
Oh,
We weren't through with election registration, at least I wasn't. It's $3,000 increase.
Yep, that's another line that can be decreased because we are purchasing the computer this year.
The new computer comes out?
Yep.
Okay.
so what
So-
can it,
The other,
what can it be reduced to?
I think it's about, at the top of my head, I think it's about $1,700. Do I have that?
Instead of 64?
You deduct $1,700.
At least
from that.
17, yeah, I think it's at least 1,700.
Oh, just deduct it?
Yeah.
Well,
I'd
can we
have to-
just ask for a new figure for the future meeting?
So it'd be like 47.25, around that.
Yeah,
Well, you can come back with a correct figure.
I will, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Worth asking.
Yeah, see, this was already printed before the board
Yes.
approved that expense.
Now I'm done.
How about election salaries? That's going up 2,000.
What page you on now?
It's
Number 10, same
number
page.
10.
Oh, okay.
Decreasing.
Oh, that's decreasing, sorry. I didn't notice my line, sorry.
Fewer elections.
Because of no elections. That's why all those lines have decreased on that page?
Yes.
Excellent, just verifying.
Is there anything else under financial administration?
What?
Under election.
We,
Oh, where are
we
you
just
now?
did the election.
Right.
Oh,
Okay, so on number 2 under financial,
Yeah,
the finance officer, where are we on replacing this?
we aren't.
Are we
It's in limbo.
Yeah,
Right.
in limbo?
yeah.
That's why it says the town has a financial consultant for accounting services, so
Yeah.
Where? are we-
presently it
So-
has $1 as a placeholder.
No, it's
Yeah.
34,000.
That's not what it says.
That's the request.
Yeah, but then it says that presently the line has $1 as a placeholder in the event the town hires for the
No.
position.
Yeah.
That's what it says right underneath it.
No,
Yeah.
it was voted $34,000. That's what's your budget.
Okay, that's,
But that's,
for
David requested.
2018, right? Is that what you mean, David?
What?
You mean it was appropriated for
explained under it.
2018,
Yeah.
34,000?
34, there, I don't know what that means. Presently, the line
Yeah,
has.
so it should be under the consultant line, David.
right.
Oh,
That's, you're right, he's right. I mean,
requested
Right.
should be $1 right
Yes.
now.
Right.
no, the requested should be the 34. It was in reference to the finance officer position under the consultant.
So it should be
Right.
switched with number 9 on the
You know.
next page.
On the next page.
Yeah, number 9, we have $1. So this budget has, this line and this position has been, since I've been here, bouncing around.
Yeah.
Initially, the finance officer was filled. The following year, the town hired a consultant. Then we tried to hire again. So it's gone back and forth. Now, we don't have staffing for either.
You don't have a financial consultant?
Well, sorry, we have a I meant full-time financial officer versus in the admin position.
Right. You
Yes,
have
but we
nobody.
do have, yes, we have a consultant.
Okay.
Who do you have for BSMI?
No, Greg Colby.
Out of the office? Town office?
Mm-hmm.
Full-time?
No,
I didn't think so.
no, just,
And before, it used to be a full-time position. so-
yes.
We've had 3 different ones in my tenure, 2.5 years of selectmen.
So, the reason why I don't have an answer is because there's been various discussion on how this position, or these positions should be filled, the responsibilities the position or positions should do, future expectations of what might happen. There's really a lot going on. There's a lot of conversation going on, and it's just there still needs to be more conversation that will happen with it, and it's just not, now's not the time. But with that being said, what is budgeted, I understand.
We need some money for whoever.
Yes.
Well, the sad thing is, you had a full-time financial officer, and you had a full-time administrative assistant. And now you have neither.
That would be helpful.
And now you don't have either one.
Now we have a consultant that is carrying a pretty good workload, and Charlie is taking
Yeah.
up some weight of the things that were being done by the.
I think Charlie's doing a lot of extra.
He is.
Oh, yeah. Well, the consultant is helping with the payables, and I'm doing the payroll for the time being, but yeah, we need to hire basically, I think in the end, we need to hire someone.
Okay.
Whether or not it's a full-time finance officer that helps out with the administrative assistant stuff, or if it's someone that helps out with clerk work, it's to be determined.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions on financial administration? Sherry?
No, but I do have a question on, we voted on 2-hour meetings, right?
We what?
We voted on 2-hour meetings.
We, actually, hour-and-a-half meetings.
Okay, well, it's
We
8
were doing
o'clock and
6:30
it's
to
getting
8.
late.
I know.
I'm done.
The only
Right.
reason I'm going longer is because it's the budget, the proposed budget, and I just wanted to get as much done as we could.
Yep, and we did fine. I think we did fabulous.
Does-
I'm gonna
Is
excuse
everybody
myself,
else
'cause
willing to go on to property taxation or not?
I had one question under finance.
Okay, wait a minute, David. How does everyone else feel? Does everyone else want to adjourn now, or are you willing to go a little bit further?
I'll go further.
Why don't we wait until the next?
Lee and David will go further,
I
Sandra?
didn't say nothing.
Somebody did, was it you, David?
me, just
Oh, just David, okay.
Just
For him.
Lee,
David.
how about
I didn't
you?
say nothing.
How about you, Lee?
I'm neutral.
How about you?
I'm neutral.
Okay, Eli?
Depends upon what further is.
We won't go any later than 8:30.
I'd rather call it a night.
Harold?
I think that if we voted on the 1.5-hour meetings and we've gone 2 already,
Well, what we did, we voted on an hour-and-a-half meetings, but we also said, like one of them was, we met with the department head tonight. We also said that if we're gonna be meeting with department heads, then it might run in, it might be longer, so. Doesn't matter to me, I'm just trying to get as much done as we can, so it's up to the majority of the board.
Well, I apologize because I live on a steep hill and we had some snow and stuff, and the last time we had snow and stuff about a week and a half ago, I must have make it up. So I'm going to excuse myself, I apologize.
No, that's fine,
You
Sherry.
Continue,
That's fine.
but I'm leaving because
That's
I
fine.
raised my hand at 2-hour meetings.
Yeah, that's
And we
fine.
voted for an hour and a half.
That's fine.
I just had one question on finance, and maybe we could, I don't know if anybody else has anything on finance.
So Harold, what did you decide you wanted to do?
like I said, I don't want it to become a 3-hour meeting.
That's not going to be. David has
It'll
one
be 2.5.
question. And let's just go over property taxation, which shouldn't take long, and then we'll call it a night. Okay, David, what is your question?
On the increase of $3,800, almost doubling general.
What
expense-
number?
Oh, sorry, 12 on page 16.
Yeah?
Oh, 16.
I just was wondering what the.
That was, you look at the note,
Yeah.
that was moved, that's the finance software expense. That
So
was
it's
under,
mostly that, the moving of the account,
yes.
mostly the change, all right.
Yeah,
That was my question.
right. Property taxation, I'll jump right in there.
Wait a minute, does anybody else have any questions on financial administration?
Nope.
Okay, go ahead, Charlie.
Okay, so no requested changes here, except for, you notice the property revaluation line. We're dropping that to $1 from 33,000. The reason being, there is, this year is our reval year, in case you haven't noticed, that the tax bills haven't gone out. They're going out late because of our assessments not being completed. But now, with that being said, it was recommended to us that we could skip a year doing valuation because, the whole goal is to get to 100%. And also to save, we're going to put on the warrant to create a capital reserve instead of having it in the budget. And the capital reserve quest will be, I believe, top of my head, about 20,000. So overall reduction.
And what will the capital reserve warrant article say?
Oh, just to raise and appropriate, et cetera, to establish a capital reserve fund for the
Property.
purposes of revaluation.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You won't hear me complaining about a cut to a line of $32,999. I will not argue that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Charlie, on the
Yeah.
tax map update, did they use this 5,000 for 2018?
Nope, that line that's for our GIS project.
So that's been transferred there.
Yes.
Okay, so that's been transferred to, okay.
Is that gonna be encumbered, or?
Maybe. I would say maybe. I'll have to ask the account on that one. Maybe, because we do have a contract with them.
Yes, we do.
Are there any other questions or anything you want to say on property taxation? Charlie, what did you say?
We can go to legal.
Go to legal?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to legal. Eli wants to go to legal.
Well, it's okay.
Legal expense, at a minimum, the request for an increase of $5,000 based off of, well, I sent everyone the analysis before. This line continues to go over every year.
And an increase of 5,000 is not a lot.
It's 33%.
Yeah, but it could be an increase of 10,
This
sometimes
is,
20,000.
yeah, this is under the, I talked to Walter Mitchell last week. I'm trying to get a number. His monthly fee for us for consultation is $1,000. That doesn't include consultation when it comes to
Right, because he
litigation.
charges you
Anything
extra
else.
with the other.
Anything else, yeah,
Right.
if you want basic, what's the RSA type thing.
Yeah,
and
because he
letters.
charges you extra for the other.
He'll charge you for extra for that. Now, with that being
Things
said,
that came up.
I said to Walter, look, I kind of need a number because I'm going before the budget committee. I haven't got one yet. And of course, this also includes the ongoing Fairpoint utility evaluation
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
that we still get bills for.
The other case isn't still ongoing though, is it?
Yes, it is.
As far as all the emails and everything?
The right to know thing, case, yes.
It's still going on?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
To the best of our knowledge.
Best of our
that
knowledge.
is from that.
So I had a quick, couple things on personnel administration.
Yeah,
The medical insurance line needs to go up 18,919.
wait a minute, what number?
220.
Number 2 on page 23?
Sorry, I can start it, yeah, number two needs to go down. That needs to be reduced
Okay.
to 31,537.
Yeah,
There is a decision by the board about, I guess you could say, the roster for that insurance. And then the medical insurance needs to go up $18,919. That did not include the water and sewer employee. The town, as we discussed earlier, pays for that, and then we invoice that to water and sewer. When I
Okay.
initially calculated, I didn't have that in there.
So that's essentially a wash.
It's a wash, it's a
Yeah,
wash,
it's
it
a
is a
wash.
wash. But I didn't have it in the calculation initially, I only had town
So you're
employees.
gonna replace page 23
So
for
the
us?
18,919 is the
Yeah,
wash?
basically, yeah.
What?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but what's the real number now?
The real number, sorry, excuse me, is 274,688.
274,
688.
688.
Charlie, why did disability insurance go up?
It's based off salaries,
Okay.
yeah.
What's based off salary?
Increase in,
Premiums,
Oh,
disability, it's based off of,
Same
Yeah.
with life insurance.
yeah.
oh, life insurance. No,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, anybody else have any other questions? Oh, I know something I wanted to mention tonight. David Toth had sent me an email quite a long time ago saying that Ann was gonna do a new budget for us, that she sent us the wrong information last time. I still haven't received it, so I'm gonna email David again tomorrow, remind him that it has to be done, so that we can have that.
So when are we meeting again?
I said that tonight,
13th.
The
December
13th
11th.
at 6 o'clock.
at 6 o'clock, the second Tuesday.
How much
Several